Who are you?
Sophie.
All right, so Red Barn Builds 99. We're doing a rear brake pad rotor service on this 2020 Alfa Romeo Stelvio 2020. Yep, 2020. I just said that. So before you start, what you need to do is you need to go into the settings, system settings, passive safety, brake service. That way it automatically retracts the electronic e-brake for you. So we've got the car jacked up right now, just enough off the ground. And what I'm doing is taking the wheels off first, and then we're gonna get to replacing the pads. Well, taking the calipers off so that we can replace the rotors, and then replacing the pads, and so on both sides. Onto that.
Alright, well, what we just did is first we disconnected the brake pad sensor, which goes right in down here to just clip. And then we also disconnected the electronic brake sensor, which is right here. You just use a flathead and pop it out. And we untucked it from here, and we're gonna tuck it away while we take the caliper off. There's two bolts to take the caliper off. One right here, which we already started to loosen, and then one right down here, which we have the wrench on right now.
What kind of bolts are they?
They are torque bolts, right?
Close. E-Torques.
E-Torques.
And for y'all, all of you that don't know what that looks like like this. It is it's a Torx bit, but it's a E-Torques. So this is like the male, and then the socket is like the female side. So it's an E-Torques. It is an E18. So we're just gonna take the caliper off real quick, show you what that looks like. So we just took off the old rotor, put on the new rotor, cleaned off all the overspray that's on the pad surface of the rotor. She cleaned the brake caliper bracket. It's filthy, might do a little bit more cleaning, but now I'm just putting the new E-Torques bolts in, and I'm not sure what torque spec there is, if any, but I'm gonna find out if there is, and if there is one, we'll torque it down to spec. Alrighty, so the caliper is clean. The new brake pads are in. As you can see, new rotor's on. So the caliper, we put the caliper bracket on, torqued these bolts, the E-Torques, the E18s down to 35. It's 32 to 39 foot-pounds. And then I greased up the pads. We plugged in the sensor and made sure that the brake pad sensor was bolted back up to the caliper. That's plugged in, the electronic e-brake is plugged back in, the bracket is bolted back up, and the caliper is bolted back to the bracket. The clip is back on, so everything is set right here. Now the wheel just needs to go back on. We're going to go over to the driver's side and repeat the process on the driver's side.
I'm taking the back of the caliper off to clean it.
Part of the caliper? Caliper bracket?
Caliper bracket. So that we can get to the rotor. And also clean the caliper because they're expensive and I want them to look pretty.
What are you doing?
I am giving the rotor some love so that it falls off. And so I put the new rotor
Jeez, the waves. Okay, so the driver's side is done. The new rotor is on. Calipers cleaned up. The new pads are in. The electronic e-brake is plugged in. The brake pad sensor is plugged in. Everything is good to go. So now we're just going to throw the wheel back on, drop it back down, and we should be good to go. Yeah, and then we got to reset the system inside to let it know that it has new pads.
Now we have to reset the parking brake sensor by turning the car on. Only accelerations. Does it start the car?
Only accelerations?
Did it say to
You mean
start?
auxiliary power?
Only auxiliary.
Auxiliary.
Power. And then you press the brake pedal and put the parking brake on. While it does its thing. So saying do your brakes. Brake service, park brake reset, brake service complete.
Make sure you have brakes.
Yeah.
Take it around the block. See you in a minute.
See you in a minute. I got brakes.
You heard it from her, folks. The Alfa Romeo has brakes again. That's rear brakes. That's rear brake rotors and pads on a 2020 Alfa Romeo Stelvio.
And that's my emergency parking brake too.
Red Barn Builds out.